Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another fascinating episode of Dion's Daily Dose. So, sorry I got started late today. We were out putting up signs, and then we had to pick up the 17-year-old's girlfriend and bring her back because now that social distancing is starting to get backed off a little bit. He's been very patient though. I will say. And for those of you before you say anything, I know this is the same shirt I had on yesterday. It has been washed. I thought it looked good with the sign. I thought it would. This is the one the wife recommended. So yeah, she likes this one. Anyway, so while I was out, we're dropping off signs to the people that want them and doing all that. There are just so many. What was really funny though, what road was that, babe, where it had the USW and then it had Mervyn sign and then this massive, huge freaking billboard for
That
McDermott like above
was
it? Do you remember what road that was? I don't know. Anyway, you're going down the road, and like I said, out in front of the USW, of course, because the USW
Porter County.
it was somewhere in Porter
I
County.
want to say six.
Yeah, it might no, because it was a north-south road, I think. Anyway, uh, so there's because they endorsed McDermott, so there's a McDermott sign out there as expected, but like the next property over, maybe the another one, there's this massive, huge Tom McDermott billboard, just incredibly massive, and a picture of him standing there. It was funny, but I saw a lot of signs on empty lots, abandoned looking properties, stuff like that. Look, there's no way that I'm going to be able to put up probably even half as many signs as McDermott for sure, because that guy has
There's that
signs
one. It was
everywhere.
on 49. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
on
there's
49 going to 6, where it was huge. It was like, whoa. Like,
yeah,
down.
that's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Was
it
it
was on
49?
49.
I think okay, so I think it was on 49. It has like vote down the left side, and then big massive McDermott. So yeah, it was entertaining. I was hoping to get back by 7, before 7, preferably, obviously, so that I could get this set up and stuff. I didn't realize that I hadn't set it up yet. And then I'm looking at the time. I'm like, well, see what time it's scheduled for. I looked at I use StreamYard, so it's browser based. So you log into the browser and you can see the ones that are set up. Like tomorrow's with Rainwater is already set up. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh no, I didn't set it up. So on the other hand, at least I didn't have to change the time. So hey, Timothy. So I thought today what I would talk about, aside from all these signs that I was out putting up, and the amusing fact, because I'm being told that actually McDermott at some point in the past said that only a loser puts signs in front of abandoned lots and stuff like that. I don't know if that quote is accurate, but I'd like to see if so, because if that's the case, then that's kind of amusing.
No, he said it. It's on video. He said
Oh,
it.
it is? Okay. Yeah. I haven't seen the video where he said it, but it doesn't surprise me one bit. I thought that we could talk about safety versus security, right? And we have the Ben Franklin quote, right? Who said those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. And I find that interesting because today we have this big conversation, right? Especially regarding the pandemic and people wanting to be safe and wanting others to change their life for them. And I was thinking, there really isn't. Is there anything in life that's guaranteed? Anything, right? You other than death, right? There are. Is there a way that we could actually guarantee safety? I don't think so. I don't think so. I thought about it. And even if we could, even if the government or a small contingent of local government or forces said, yes, we can guarantee your safety, What then do you give up? What aspects of liberty do you give up in order for your safety to be guaranteed? Uh, and that kind of leads us down the path. What are we willing to sacrifice? Because we saw today, yeah, Dave says death and taxes, right? Yeah, because taxes are the other one. Death and taxes are the only certain things in life, right? Uh, Tim said my new normal is going to be my old normal, right? Then talk of the new normal with safety versus security, and it concerns me because there are people that absolutely are of the mindset that if I just government all my power, then they will take care of me. Now, I'm not of the camp that believes that absolutely nothing should be done for those who can't take care of themselves. My wife's a Medicaid waiver case manager. She has people on her caseload that need help. They're unable to take care of themselves. There's a difference though between that and the people that abuse the system, because they exist. We all know they exist. Now, the numbers, how many, what percentage, and all that can be debated. But we know that there are people that abuse the system. I'm talking about the people that legitimately are disabled, the people that legitimately are unable to take care of themselves, especially the ones that need help getting dressed, using the bathroom, things like that. Those people should have help. What else are our taxes going towards? Right? A lot of things. But when we can spend millions and millions of dollars on a jet, right? A single jet, then I wonder who's benefiting from that. Now, I've said it before, I'll say it again here for this episode. I am 100% in favor of our fighting men and women. I support our military, but there's a difference between supporting the military and supporting pouring money into military contractors. But I don't want to get off topic. When we have a situation where people are wanting to give the government more power, right? Let's look at this content. Now, on its surface, and I showed the video before. There's a lot more coming out about it now. There's apparently a House Resolution 6666 that deals with the contact tracing and wanting to pour money into making this a reality. We saw the I think it was Ventura County, California, where they're like, oh yeah, we're going to go door to door. Now, of course, Facebook says, oh no, that's fake news, even though Ventura County itself was the one that said it. What is the balance, right? What's the big tipping point? Because we've seen throughout history that the more control a government takes over its citizens and over the rights of those citizens, the less freedom these citizens have, and the more oppressive the government actually becomes. We can look at the Soviet Union, right, of the World War II era, Stalin. Of course, everyone knows Germany in the 30s and 40s. We know that Venezuela has taken away pretty much every right the citizens had. We have a situation where the bigger a government gets and the more oppressive a government gets, the less freedoms the people get. But what surprises me are the people that are perfectly okay with that. The ones that are like, oh yeah, it's okay to take my freedoms as long as you pay for this for me, pay for that for me. At what point do we become just a cog in the machine versus free thinking, free willed individuals? Because free will, I mean, it's a tenet of my faith, right? It's a huge part of humanity, because having free will means being able to do whatever you want. whether that's good or bad. There are those people out there that abuse that, absolutely, that do think, hey, stop it. A cat. Uh, that's Dexter. He's very, very cuddly, but he's not incredibly bright. Uh, so yeah, Dave, that's a great point. I never thought so many would give up so much so easily. That's absolutely right. When you look at the sheer numbers of people, the sheer number of people that are perfectly willing to sacrifice their freedoms in order to be told what to do, right? Well, okay, I'll stay at home as long as the government tells me to. And I understand, I'm one of the people that I know that this disease, this virus is real. There are casualties to it, there are people that are affected by it. But at what point can we get back to work? At what point? Because look, there are those people that are going to be affected by it, and my heart goes out to them. I have suffered many, many losses of family members in my lifetime. My mother, father, grandparents have all passed away. I know that loss. But that said, at what point do we stop making decisions out of fear? At what point do we say, okay, we need to start getting this economy going again, because there are going to, in my opinion, I think there are going to be far more casualties because of the economy than there are due to the disease. We're looking at people who are losing everything, their livelihood, their business, their homes. And these, it's put out there, right? Let's talk about the rent freeze, well, the eviction freeze, because it's not a rent freeze. In many places, including some areas of Indiana, there has been instituted an eviction freeze where the government will not proceed with evictions. Now, that's not going to last forever. And at some point, you're going to be expected to pay your rent. You're going to be expected to pay your mortgage. There was a guy who did a video that went viral. I can't play it. It's laced with profanity. Great video though. Vic, what was his name? Vic, Vinny, Brad, something. You know who I'm talking about. Can you give me the name for it if you can? But he did a video and he was talking about just tack it on the end, right? Give us this time and then tack it on the end. So why is that so hard to do? I believe that there are those mortgage companies and stuff, but if we think for a moment,
Ticked off Vic.
yeah, Ticked Off Vic is the name of the video. Really good video. But it makes some great points, right? Dibatello, that's it. Vic Dibatello. Thank you, Tim. I appreciate that. So there is all this stuff's going to come due, right? There's going to come a time where we're going to have to pay for all the things that have been pushed back and pushed back. Now, the people that are suffering as far as losing their businesses, they're laying off employees that have been unable to qualify for whatever reason for the Paycheck Protection Program, the EIDLs, all the various things that have been put out there. In some cases, because these large companies have jumped on it, which is absolutely disgusting, especially publicly traded companies. Come on, guys. And you know what? I'm going to say this. The press has tried to turn that into well, it shouldn't have been written that way, right? Trying to blame the president for it. Kind of forgetting that all the president did was sign it. That's all he did. Were the ones who put this bill together, the CARES Act, the PPP, all that stuff, who put it all together, right? And then sent it to the president's desk, and he signed it. Now, it amuses me to no end, the people, especially the people that have been in Congress for 20, 30 plus years that like to blame Donald Trump for everything that's wrong in this country. Hasn't even been president yet for 4 years. It's all his fault. But we've been in Congress for a very long time, and if you actually, like, for example, Biden, right? Elect me and I'll fix everything. You were in the you were in the White House for 8 years as vice president. Why didn't you fix it then? Right? We know, and look, those of us who are waking up, look at CBS News, look at the things that have been shown to have been flat out lies, like the testing line. Look at the deceptive editing that they've used. Do you really think that these people, the ones who put there, do you think that they have your best interests at heart? Because I know they don't have mine. I know that they represent basically the exact opposite of what I want for this country, right? I want transparency. I want accountability. I want these people who basically tried to perform a coup against the sitting president. I want them brought to justice. And the wife has very I won't say cynical, but although it is a little cynical, she's like, yeah, I don't know why you're constantly expecting him to say something during these press briefings, because he's not. And I can see that. I understand that. Hi, Jack. Thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. So, and I get that, right? But I'm going to say this. There is something to be said for letting it play out. Let's look at CBS. Prior, like everyone knew, even the left knows CNN is biased, right? But prior to this whole Project Veritas expose on the testing lines, prior to this massive drop recently with Barr and the deceptive editing practices, how many people on the left, not the right, but the middle ground on the left, how many people knew CBS was just as much a part of it? You could point to CNN, you could point to MSNBC, but CBS, a lot of people still had a lot of faith in CBS. So there's something to be said for allowing things to come out on time. And, oh, yeah. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate that. Yeah, good old Dan Rather. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, so, right. Right. And we know, like, especially the people on the right that have watched this political machine that's aligned against Donald Trump from the day he decided to run. It has been, double barrel, spinning, full ahead attack the whole time, right? We've seen what's become of that. We've seen the people the come to light, for lack of a better term, the expose on these news agencies, and I use the term very loosely because it's not real news. It's a twisted amalgamation of the news, right? We know that they are utilizing as many deceptive practices as they can. We covered before who owns what and how controlled it all is. But we haven't seen the kind of public shaming that's going on now with the news and these organizations. Look at Jeffrey Epstein, right, who didn't kill himself. We see, like, the Miami Herald ran the story down there, but when we had the Project Veritas expose that came out on ABC News, right, and it showed the reporter, I don't remember her name, who said, I had this years ago, right? I think she said she had it 2 years ago. And she's like, I had all this, I was ready to go, and they wouldn't run with it. Why? Why wouldn't they run with such an important story? Because they're all part of the same club. Yeah, Tim, that's absolutely correct. Imagine what our president could achieve if he had full support from both sides. And imagine what he could achieve if the press just told the truth, right? If they didn't spin it, if they didn't focus for years on a Russian collusion narrative that has been destroyed, absolutely destroyed. We have the transcripts from Susan Rice, from Clapper, from many other people where they say, no, there was no evidence. There was no evidence. Now, a lot of these people got on television and said the exact opposite of this. They got on television and they said, "Oh yeah, we know what he did, absolutely." Oh yeah, thank you, Dave. Amy Robach, that was the one who had the scoop, right, on good old Epstein, and she said I had it years ago. Tim Jones says OAN Liz Wheeler, the best, straightforward to the point, no BS. I like Wheeler. I like her. She very straightforward. She'll give it to you. I will say, and it wasn't a big surprise. I watched the OAN little thing where they said, okay, so CBS did a or CNN, sorry, did a story. What? Hold on. Chris Wells. Holy crap! A Harper for Congress ad just ran on Discovery Channel.
What? How?
Oh my, like the regular Discovery Channel? How much money does this guy have? My understanding is that he comes from a very wealthy family. I don't know. I don't know the guy. I will tell you he is incredibly progressive, like
Incredibly wealthy.
far left progressive. Um, oh my goodness, on the Discovery Channel, huh? Well, he's going to have to do something because when I was out putting signs up, I saw at least, and this is very, very low ball, I saw at least 10 McDermott signs. I saw at least 5 Mervyn signs. I saw 1 Jim Harper sign, and I saw 4 Mara Reardon signs. But all 4 of those were in the same yard. So I will say Mara's sign is kind of hard to. Yeah, yeah. Okay, Chris said he's going to record it. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, definitely record it. I'd like to see that. I'm just curious. Harper, again, my understanding is that Jim Harper comes from a background of wealth.
I just
Uh,
thought he has to be working with an advertising agency to even get on the Discovery
yeah, he's got to be working with an ad agency to even get on the Discovery Channel. So he's dumping some cash into it. Look, I'm going to tell you my stance on pre-primary. Oh yeah, Chris asked, was McDermott's in a vacant lot? 99% of them were. Uh, yeah, I saw. To be fair, I saw at least 6 out of the 10 minimum, and there's more, but just today, at least 6 were in vacant lots or in front of abandoned buildings. So,
if they're not
uh,
abandoned, it's questionable.
yeah, if I'd be very surprised if they're not abandoned because they look sketchy. Like, put it this way, I would not go there, you know, after dark unarmed. Well, I appreciate that he says Dion's getting my vote no matter how many signs McDermott puts out. Look, here's my stance for pre-primary. I got my signs and I'm going to put them out. Uh, Again, that's my money that I spent on that. Those of you who donated, I appreciate the donations. I'm going to use that for the social media ads. I have no problem breaking down exactly every dime that I get and every dime that I spend because we need somebody who's willing to do that. I'm going to tell you, just like I'm going to continue this. Let's assume for a moment that I win the primary. I'm going to continue doing my live streams. I don't know if it'll be every day because I'm going to have a lot more to do in the general. But I'm going to continue doing live streams and I'm going to continue to update you on what's going on with the campaign and stuff like that. Assuming I win the general and I go to Washington, I'm going to continue to do live streams. I'm going to tell you and I got no problem telling you. Chris Wells does live streams for his job, and he's an elected official. I think it's great. I think it's fantastic. We need more people like that. We need more people that are willing to show what's really going on, right? You know what I'd like to do? I'd like to work with Veritas to get like the little spy cam and expose Congress. Like, how cool would that be? Anyway, a little bit of pipe dreams there. But you know what I'd like to do is expose the backroom deals they try to bring to you, right? Where they, assuming I win, because nobody currently believes, the dirty people currently believe that anyone but a Democrat is going to win this seat. I think they're wrong. I think we absolutely can turn this district red. So they're not approaching anyone. But whoever gets the nomination, especially whomever wins the general, right? They're going to go to them. They're going to be like, hey, if you push this through, or if you do that, or if you do this, I'd like to. Oh, do you really? Oh, wait. Oh, what? They make Congress sign an NDA?
It might have cost about $18,000 for that.
Oh, so Liz says it might have cost about $18,000 for that Discovery Channel ad, Chris, and everybody else. $18,000. Oh my goodness, that's crazy. Well, you know what? Maybe I can't do some stuff. I'm not going to break the law, but I can still communicate with the voters. They're not going to stop me from doing that. I will figure something out. You can bet on that. Anyway, here's my stance when it comes to the primary. I'm going to spend what I think I have to, and obviously the more I raise, the more I can spend, but the general election is what's going to be really, really important, because whoever wins the nomination is going to need everyone's support, because the party, the Republican Party has already said that they consider District 1 a throwaway, right? Heard this from numerous people. They have said that there's not going to be official party money much, right? But I believe that there's going to be a lot of individual donors and big money from other sources outside the RNC, because there are a lot of people that want to see this district flip. There are a lot of people that, especially, look, here's the thing, guys, especially if McDermott wins the primary, oh my goodness, my ideal matchup is Thomas McDermott, right? Because really, it would just be, and there are already groups out there. Speaking of, there are already groups out there that are anti-McDermott. They're not for any other candidate. And speaking of that, there was actually an exchange earlier on Facebook where the say no to what was it, anyone but McDermott or say no to McDermott? One of the
Started out with the say no to Brandon.
Okay. It started out with say no to Brandon Dothinger, right? On that Facebook group. There was a post that was put by Sabrina Hake, right?
Hold on.
Who, do you want me to bring it up?
Well, no, I'm just going to tell the story.
Okay, she's going to tell the story. Here, turn up that microphone.
Which one is it?
It's the second slider. Second slider. Push that up. Yeah. Up. Not all the way. Just right before all the way. There you go. There's your microphone. Okay. She doesn't want to be on camera.
You can't see me, but you can hear me.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a guy named Brandon Dothinger who is running for state rep, who I guess is controversial. I don't know, because I don't know much about him. So someone made a Facebook group that says basically say no to Brandon Dothinger or anyone but Brandon Dothinger. And Sabrina Hake went on there and made a post that said, well, how could you make a page like this? You know, it's so wrong, and how can you target somebody out? You know, you guys could basically be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah. That it was okay to support a politician,
But you shouldn't.
but you shouldn't make a page targeting anti-politician.
So, the Say No to McDermott page found out group, and they replied with, "How could you say that, Sabrina, when you were okay with our group existing? In fact, you're so okay with our group existing that you reached out to us to help you find, or to help you." And then they included a screenshot. And in the screenshot, message to them, it looked like a private message, asking if they would help her find locations to put her signs, because she has huge signs. Her signs
They're
are
massive.
huge. Ideal locations to put her signs, and she would even be willing to pay the individual for the space to put her sign.
Mm-hmm.
They then replied that we're not endorsing anyone, and I've even reached out to them and I had a question. I said, "You guys say anyone but McDermott.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean Republican or Democrat?" And they say, "We mean anyone, but we don't help anybody."
Yeah, they have specifically said they will not help any candidates. Their goal is to get the information out there about how corrupt and how bad McDermott is. Their words.
Yes. So they are not going to campaign for anybody. They're going
Right.
to campaign against McDermott. But how can you, one, offer people money to put your sign up? Obviously, then they weren't thinking of having your sign.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't say it's okay to have a no McDermott, but not a no because
Brandon Dothinger.
Brandon Dothinger and her have along the same political viewpoints.
Yeah, they're both very progressive.
So,
Yeah.
that was funny.
Okay.
All right, bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
If you want the real scoop, stay
Well,
tuned
we're
for
not.
Liz. Right. So back to that whole line. I detest spending other people's money, right? Especially like campaign donations. While I greatly appreciate it and I promise to use it the best way that I can to ensure that I get elected, because I believe that I would make it the best representative for you, especially pre-general, right? Or excuse me, pre-primary. Yeah, right before the primary. A lot of it I consider a waste of money. Signs are okay, some ads are okay, but when you have just $18,000 as an example for a TV ad,
Approximately estimated.
yeah, estimate, obviously, but $18,000. Imagine what you could do with that money. And that's one of the reasons why politics really bothers me, is just the sheer amount of money that is spent that could be done, that could be used for so much more, so many different things. And I know a lot of that is me talking myself out of people sending me money, or talking other people out of sending me money. But yeah, right, if you can afford it, by all means, I greatly appreciate it. I'll give you a breakdown. But got my signs today, putting them up for those people who want them. I didn't get to everybody today, obviously. It's probably take me the rest of this week to get out to everybody's house, because District 1 is big. But if you have not gotten your sign yet, remember, I'm still working on it. I will be probably concentrating on LaPorte and Porter County today. We went out and did a little bit. I don't have a ton of support in Lake County. It is what it is. I don't anticipate. Right. That's Chris nailed it. You nailed it. I don't trust people who spend $1 million to get a job worth $165K. Why? Why are you spending so much money to have he asked who did your signs? The person you recommended. I just picked him up today.
A normal person who knows normal people can figure out how to get their hands on that much money. Like
And that's the other thing though. Sign Depot did my signs. Gross. That's what Liz just said. Do regular people, like you and me, do we know people like that? I don't personally know anyone who has $1 million to drop on running for an office that only pays $174,000 a year, right? So, yeah, that was the thumbnail. Hey, will you go out and get my sign? From Yeah, she's gonna run out and get one. I got it in my truck so that I can just take it out tomorrow. You're off camera, just saying that. Okay. Yeah, I'll show you guys the sign. I like it. It's the same. Let's see if you can see it. It's the same as the bottom picture here. The bottom one, not the top one. But she's gonna bring one in, and I'll show you guys. But that's exactly it, Dave. Dave said that's why people owe people, and that's what it comes down to, and that's what I want to make clear. I've tried to make this clear before. I want to help the party. I want to help the Republican Party, but I do not want to be controlled by the Republican Party, and I won't be. That's one of the reasons why, kind of when I thought about running and I started talking to the people that were in power in the counties, and they're like, oh, you haven't done this, you haven't done that, and you haven't done this for the party or that for the party. The party's not going to give you money. That's fine. That's fine. I don't want the party's money. LaPorte County doesn't have a lot of money to give anyway. I understand that. But I really believe that we're going to see a big surprise this election, right? Whether it is this district flipping, whether it's people coming out in record numbers to vote for Donald Trump, because I don't know if you guys have seen the primary numbers. Wow. Wow. Breaking records all over. I expect the same thing to be down the pipe in November. We know that Donald Trump has a 95% approval rating in the Republican Party. The interesting thing to me is, why isn't it higher? What has he done that 5% of people are like, no, I don't like him? Is it the people that are watching the news? Is it the people that are listening to CBS, ABC, MSNBC, CNN? I think so. And then, of course, you got the people like Walsh, Joe Walsh, who's like, oh, he's just a bad man. There we go. There it is. There it is. Let me see it. I'm going to get it a little closer. Here is the Dion for Congress sign. I think it looks good. I think the name is legible. The only regret that I have about the sign is I probably should have put Republican on it somewhere, or maybe had the little elephant. I don't know. I think it's a little big for Trump. I was hoping that it would fit, like that Trump could hold it, but unfortunately it would have had, it's too wide, I think, for Trump to hold it, but I'll figure something out. Maybe I can put it around his neck or something. Yeah, I like it though, right? I think it looks good. It's very, very bright, very colorful, easily legible. Yeah, so cool. And of course, for those of you who notice, absolutely has the union bug on it, because that is important. And I've had people, let me tell you, I've had people that were like, yeah, Jack, thank you. I appreciate it. He actually came up with the Indiana design, right? The putting the flag in there, and yeah, the lighthouse for the eye I thought was cool. It goes with my other one. We just kind of improved the old design a little bit. Jack did. There were people that were like, oh, you don't have to worry about putting the union bug there for the primary, just do it for the general. Then what's the point, right? Number one, I plan on utilizing my signs because I'm going to win. The second thing is, if you're just doing it for some sort of symbology, then you don't really believe in it. Then what's the point, right? I do support unions. Now, I've seen that other candidates out there have the same thing, so good for them. But it irks me when people are like, oh, yeah, don't worry about that until the general, or don't worry about this until the general. Uh, it's important to me that I portray my values before the general, not only because if people know who I am, they're not going to vote for me anyway, but number two, so I'm gonna give you a little drop, right? Little information. When we went to the Lake County Lincoln Day dinner, right? And they have all the tables set up, and then they'll have the sponsor of, right? There were a couple of candidates who paid to sponsor a table. Now, I will tell you that is my opinion as to why certain candidates are more establishment friendly, liked by the party officially, than others. Look, we know how it goes, right? We know how it works. I saved my money for signs, for social media ads, for things like that. And you know what? I'm going to tell you, especially this whole COVID thing. You don't realize how much gas it takes to run for, especially an office that comprises such a large area. Going back and forth between all the meet and greet locations and going and meeting these people and going over here and going over there. Yes, sir, Tim. I look. My wife, her whole family was either former or current steel workers. I support, yeah, friend. We have tons of friends. I support unions because look, you know what? That's actually a good. Yeah, we saw. Yeah, Chris, I agree. If anybody needs signs made, go to Sign Depot of NWI in Lake Station. Tell her that her councilman sent you. I told her that. She said Chris is such a sweetheart. He so far is the only Republican I will ever vote for. And yeah, he is. He's super nice, and she's very, very nice there. But I'm going to tell you, there's a thing called Phossy Jaw, Phossy. It's from phosphorus, from when they used to do matches, right, with phosphorus in it. And the women, look up matchstick women. The women that were there, I'm not going to show you because the images are deeply disturbing, but it would rot a part of their jaw.
If they're grossed out by teeth pictures or gross pictures, don't.
If you're grossed out by teeth pictures or really really gross pictures, don't look it up. But basically, it's the women that used to work in the matchstick shops in the late 1800s, and they had them lick the matchstick to seal it, and huh? Yeah, as well as the fumes from it. Anyway, the point is, there were no unions back then. Unions are why we don't have stuff like that anymore. Unions are why we don't have child labor, or why we do have laws against child labor, why you don't see little kids working in coal mines. Unions led to all of that. Our Chris says now I have to look. Phossy is what it's called, Phossy Jaw, and it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. They had to remove their bottom jaw. In many cases, it led to rot, and it was horrific. The leadership of unions nowadays, in many cases, is out of touch with the membership of unions, and this is why I tell union members, I support unions. I am against right to work because it's unfair. But you should absolutely have the choice as to whether you want to work for a union or not. But when you come into a place, right, and choose not to be a union member, you choose not to pay union dues, then the union should not have to help you or represent you. You're also, yeah, Timothy has a great point. Unions increase local prevailing wages because everybody wants that job, right? The reason people want the steel mill jobs, the good paid jobs are because of unions, right? They're the ones who increase the wages up to where they are now. A completely free market. People are like, oh, the market will figure it out. The market will figure it out. And it will in many cases. But before all these laws that we had for the things that we have now, the unions are what created the changes that were needed, right? So I look, and it comes back to America first. It really does. Because we've become a that whatever's cheapest, which is really funny considering look at the price of phones. I had to upgrade. No, I had to get a new phone, right? Because mine was hacked. I don't know what happened. I covered that before. But you look at the prices of these devices, right? Over $1,000 in many cases, and sometimes you can find almost the exact same phone made in India. I've seen high quality phones made in India for $40, something like that. Uh, Business, yeah. Thank you, Dave. It's true. It is possible to be pro union and pro business because the two work together. Uh, so I'm going to give you guys some homework for those of you that are planning on watching tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm going to have Donald Rainwater on the show, and we're going to talk to him about what he would have done differently had he been governor at the start of this thing. Now, I've said it before. When when you look at like a libertarian candidate for governor, right? You're like, yeah, okay, you know, good luck. I wish you well. People talk about the split vote and how it's a wasted vote. I'm going to tell you that since this whole pandemic started and the lockdowns and the social distancing and the forced closures of businesses, there are a lot of people, a lot of Hoosiers that have said in almost anyone but Holcomb. I'm not saying that I say that because there could be much worse, right? I don't agree with what Holcomb does in a lot of cases, but we could get worse. But what has happened? That's a good question, Dave. Let's find out tomorrow. Dave asked, would he ask Hill to resign? That's a good question. Remember that one for tomorrow. Come up with some questions that you guys want me to ask him. Let me actually, can you write that down, babe, for notes for tomorrow? Questions for Rainwater? The question is, if he was governor, okay, would he ask A.G. Hill to resign?
Based on losing his license.
Yeah, prior to losing, suspension of his license or post. I'm just wondering, or at all. What do you guys think about this whole Attorney General Curtis Hill thing? I I wasn't surprised when they handed down what they handed down, and we find out that his law license is temporarily suspended. I think that was the intention the whole time. Now we know that Holcomb and the establishment has been out to get Curtis Hill since pretty much the beginning. Uh, what do we know about these allegations? Do we think that they're politically motivated? Do we think that this stuff actually happened? The court allegedly decided. I don't know. I don't know. And more importantly, does this affect his ability to be on the AG ballot now that his license is going to be suspended? Is he ineligible to run for AG? We're going to find out. We're going to look into this. Do you, if you were a delegate, would you vote for Curtis Hill or would you vote for one of the other contenders? I have seen a couple of posts where Mr. Todd Rokita is thinking about throwing his hat into the ring, if Todd Rokita was running for AG, would you support Curtis Hill? Would you support one of the other ones, or would you support Mr. Rokita? He's a very well-known name. He, yeah, my wife actually worked with his brother, so I was honestly I was really hoping that he'd at least maybe think about endorsing me, but they weren't like super tight or anything. So, meh, what are you gonna do? But and his brother is like not political
No.
at all. Okay, Chris Wells says it's going to happen. About Rakita, you think? Or
Well, where is his last post?
because his last post, he said he was talking to his family about it.
But I feel like when you make a post like that, that's like putting out feelers because you already know.
Yeah, and he also, and I don't know if you guys got one, whoever's a delegate. I actually got a call from a survey company who was like, if Todd Rokita was on the ballot, would you vote for? Yeah, I think so too. Chris said Rokita. He thinks it's going to happen. There were, what I'm noticing though, what's very, very interesting is the number of people that have posted on his post saying, run for governor, run for governor, run for governor. It's, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But back to Rainwater, he has seen a huge surge of people that have said, I'm going to vote for you because we need. Oh yeah, Chris got the call today for Rakita. Yeah, the call I was talking about. So, yeah, I'd like to get him on the show, Mr. Rakita. If you're watching this, call me. Numbers on the website, DionBergeron.com. Pick up the phone and give me a call. I'll get you on as soon as I can. I've got a couple people coming up. I was actually in talks to get Curtis Hill on the show. So I haven't heard back from him. When I spoke to AG Hill, I said, hey, I'd like to get you on the show. I talked to your assistant, and they said they were going to make that happen. And then I haven't heard anything. He said, you talked to Parker? I said, yeah. He said, all right, well, let me check with him, and we'll get back with you and see. I have not heard back from them. Although my guess is with this coming down, I think he probably has more stuff than he knows what to do with right now. Probably trying to scramble to figure out. Do you think that this is enough to disqualify him if his law license is suspended? Especially when's the delegation? I forgot when it is. It's in June. But
doesn't start until next Monday, the 18th. So
his suspension is from May 18th to June 18th. So what is let's see, if anybody knows when the convention, because everything's got all messed up now. We talk about having it online and Indiana. Where is it? Let's see. June. Okay. So 19th.
he gets off right before.
Okay, so his suspension is he's gonna get reinstated right before the convention. So yeah. Is this the same as the delegation? I'm gonna tell you, I don't know, guys. I'm looking. Is that the same when they do it? Whatever. Anyway, so his suspension will be up right before that. So will that make him then qualify again, or qualified, or will it pull him out? Who knows? Something to look into. But people are talking about the ones that are answering Rakita are I would actually lose respect for you if you ran against him. I don't know why you would do that, et cetera, et cetera. Uh, I don't know. I don't know. Oh, yeah, yeah, Tim. He says, what's your opinion on the hard push for mail in voting? Seems like a setup for. Yes. If you can line, yeah, if you can stand in line at Walmart, at Lowe's, at Target, at all these other places, you can stand in line 6 feet apart to vote.
But
This is
you should still have absentee.
Oh yeah, if you don't feel comfortable, then you should be able to have absentee, but to not need any reason whatsoever, and they're pushing to send ballots to every single registered voter. That's what California is doing. I will be voting in person, no question about it. I want my vote to be locked in the right way. And we have seen way, way too much voter fraud with these mail-in ballots, guys. The absentee ballots, the ballot harvesting, all that stuff. I'm going to show you. If you haven't seen this story, let me bring it up real quick. Detroit fraud. Let's see. Is this it? Yeah, here. I'm gonna share this with you. This is just let's see here. Where is it? Share screen. Now, just so you guys know, I've been working on trying to get this set up better for you. Uh it is laggy a little bit when I screen share, so I'm hoping that you'll be able to see this and it won't lag out too much. But if you just put in Detroit voter fraud, look at this. The third one down, records. Too many votes in 37% of Detroit's precincts. Suit alleges Detroit has thousands of dead residents. Detroit has 2,500 dead people registered to vote. There it is. City clerk in Michigan faces election fraud charges. That's what I was looking for. 6 felony charges, right? Sharikia Hawkins, 38 years old. The Washington Examiner. I will drop this into here for you. If you have not seen this, it is a very, very disturbing story. No, I don't want you to notify me about anything. Please stop it. Let me put that to full screen. Hopefully that'll cause it to lag just a little bit less. I was told that sometimes the sound has a couple issues. How dare you? Michigan Democrat hit with 6 felony charges for alleged voter fraud scheme, right? A once celebrated Michigan Democrat, she actually got some awards, right? Has been charged with 6 felony counts for allegedly altering absentee ballots during the 2018 midterm elections. But remember, you are the paranoid conspiracist for thinking voter fraud is real. Sharikia Hawkins, 38. Look, she as many as 193 absentee ballots. They found them in the trash. Here's the crazy part, right? She was placed on paid administrative leave. Paid. Charged with 6 felony counts, but gets paid, right? Come on. Here's what's going on. The alleged misconduct was discovered after the Oakland County Clerk's Office noticed that 193 voter files had been changed to reflect that the voters failed to include a valid signature or return date, when all of the implicated voters had, in fact, included both items. The Crow explains. The county clerk's office later discovered the original voter files in the trash at the election division office. The Michigan State Police then launched an investigation that resulted in Hawkins's arrest. Let me see if I can find. There it is. Down at the bottom, it was just a couple of months ago that the Michigan Democratic Party honored Hawkins at its annual Legacy Dinner in Detroit. That's it. Put it twice, not me. Legacy Dinner in Detroit, as Crow helpfully notes. Before that, she was even listed in the Michigan Chronicles 2017 40 Under 40. She won some kind of. She was. I don't know, one was presented with, she got some kind of award. I forget what it was called, but it's this very, very lefty award. that they gave her. I don't remember what it was. Yeah, Dave said we had problems with early voting in Portage with ballots arriving late. Right, and then they found this huge issue. Right, with all of these places, voter fraud is absolutely real. It exists during the Wisconsin ballot or election. They had all these ballots that were found at the post office. Some of them had postmarks, some of them didn't. There's video of mail carriers throwing stuff away, and we know it's real. As a matter of fact, we actually just got an email a few days ago from one of the party chairmen, and they said that they numbers for how many Democrat versus Republicans are ordering absentee ballots, right? Mail-in ballots. And the numbers are shocking. They really are. I don't have the exact numbers right now, but I can tell you that it's like a 5-to-1 ratio easy. For every 5 Democrats asking for a ballot, there's only one Republican, because Republicans they're calling their local party headquarters and the election committee and the voter committee, and they're saying this is bull. We don't want mail-in voting. We want to vote in person. So yeah, I think we're having a little bit of now. I have some more memory for the computer that I ordered. I was hoping that would take care of the slight lag issues that I have from time to time. But when I was running some diagnostics last night, it looks like that I'm going to need a new processor. I was really hoping to avoid that. I got a decent processor. It's not phenomenal, and this computer is getting kind of old. But I think I'm just going to hold off on that. I will tell you that if I win, you know what? If I win the primary, then I think I'm going to be a little too busy worried about the general. But I will try to get a better setup so that when I do, because I have every intention of doing town halls this way. I like this software. I think that it provides an excellent opportunity for voters to respond and me to respond to them in real time, ask me, and see my face. There's a difference between having a live discussion with someone, even virtually, and sending in questions for them to answer on Facebook or via email. You get an opportunity to see their face, to hear their voice, to learn about who that person really is. And that's one reason why I have these every night. I know not everybody can tune in every night. I appreciate that for those that are, especially those that are here almost every night. I greatly appreciate that. You don't have to tune in every single night. If the subject is something that you're interested in, watch it for a little while. But I do that because if I can't tune into you every night and show you that I'm dedicated to this office, then why would you vote for me, right? So remember, tomorrow night, Donald Rainwater running as a Libertarian candidate for governor of Indiana. 7 p.m. It should be pretty awesome. I think it's going to be interesting. I like I said before, I would have said, nah, Libertarian's not going to win. Now, who knows? There are a lot of people that are unhappy, very, very unhappy with Governor Holcomb for a variety of reasons. So we will see what happens. As always, God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.